Hey everyone, I'm Brady Bridges and I'm the broker and owner of Reside Real Estate here in Fort Worth, and I want to welcome you to the first episode of Real Talk with Reside Real Estate. We are a top producing team here in Fort Worth, Texas, and we want this podcast to be a resource for anyone looking to learn more about real estate and the great city of Fort Worth. So today I'm joined by Micaela Mead on our team. She started in January of 2022, so she's coming up on her first full year in real estate. So thanks for coming in today, Micaela.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and kind of why you got into real estate and how it's been going for this past year?
Yeah, so I decided to get into real estate about this time last year. Started doing the courses and finally got licensed in January and joined the team, which has been really great. Definitely a weird time to get into the market and into real estate. Everybody I told I was getting my license told me I was crazy, and I told them that I'm just going to go for it. And so I did, and it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah. So just for background for all of you, Micaela has come in and she was actually our rookie of the year this year. She's averaging right at a deal a month so far, and it's only going to go up as we go forward. But I thought she'd be an interesting perspective to have because she's not only seen the market in the past, full year, but within 6 months of that year, we've seen a complete shift. So, Micaela, tell us what has been going on with the market and what's changed and how has it been different?
So whenever I first got into real estate, beginning of the year, it was that crazy time where interest rates were still at an all-time low. Houses were flying off the market within a couple of days. People were in bidding wars, submitting over asking offers, and it was just very overwhelming for a first-time agent, and trying to talk to buyers about how to structure their offers was a little difficult. And it took a couple of months to kind of really understand how to write a good offer with that crazy market and be in that situation. But now with all the different shifts within the last 10-12 months, it's been a crazy roller coaster. And so now rates, have increased, as we've all seen. Oh, yeah. At the beginning of the year, it was about 3.5%. To the second quarter, it was about 5% of interest rates. And then it just shot right up in the September, October time where we saw it in the high sevens.
So has that
high sixes, low sevens.
Has that affected how has that affected your clients or, your business with just the rate change?
Well, it definitely has slowed down the market, I feel like, as far as what my buyers who I was working with, they were seeing those interest rate changes and getting scared and backing out of the market and feeling like they weren't able to, pursue their dreams of homeownership, which, being an agent, I had to be able to show them that there are possibilities and there are options for them. And, just being able to educate them on, where interest rates are and where they're going and how that affects their purchasing power, and trying to restructure how they're able to write offers and where they're at within the housing market within the current conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely been a wild ride for all of us here. So what are you thinking is going to happen, going into next year, into the spring? What are you seeing right now? And what would you tell people that are thinking about, buying a house or selling a house? What would be the advice you give them when they say, what are your thoughts on the market, coming up?
So I think for 2023, we're going to see a lot more stability within the market. I think that interest rates have already hit their peak, and they're going to kind of just ride out that wave and stabilize around the low sixes into the new year. I think that eventually that everyone is just going to get used to the rates and that it's going to have a big return of buyer demand since the rates have already peaked and then they're slightly coming down. So I think that buyers will eventually get back into the market and feel a little bit more comfortable with where they're sitting as far as what they're able to afford. And I think that a lot of people are worried about, this market crash and home prices falling down like they did back in 2008, which I obviously wasn't an agent back then, but I've heard a lot about it. But I don't think that
it's a pretty consistent objection, and we hear.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know. And being being a first year agent, I wasn't an agent in 2008, so I don't really know.
Like,
but
yeah, I don't know about that, but
no.
right now is the time to buy.
Yeah, being able to kind of just show them the data between like today's data versus 2008's data, and that like home prices aren't going to drop and crash like they think they are going to because of how stable the market is. And the buyer, like if you look at simple supply and demand, like there's still a low supply of inventory on the market, but there's also a lot of high demand within buyers. Even though the interest rates increase has kind of slowed that down a little bit, we're still seeing low numbers. So I don't think that home prices are going to essentially crash. I think they're just going to appreciate at a slower rate than we've seen. Because in the last couple of years, with all these people over offering on the asking price and shooting up home appreciation, about $50,000. We were seeing really high appreciation rates, and now I think it's just going to be a little bit of a slower increase.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think just with, obviously we're here in Fort Worth, so the amount of appreciation we saw just in this area from people moving out of state, house prices increased so fast and wages haven't increased at the same rate. So now with all the inflation stuff, you're seeing price drops now, which is great. And it's allowing some of these buyers to get into homes, and it's still well above, consistent market appreciation. Even though prices are going down on listings, it doesn't mean that actual averages are going down over time. So I think that's where a lot of our clients, some of the people that may be listening, get confused is, even when prices are going down on a listing, that doesn't mean that overall prices are going down. Right.
Yeah, I think it's just starting to kind of catch up with the market shift. And what I think is really great about the market now too is like that's because buyer demand has kind of slowed within recent months because of the interest rates changing. The homes are sitting longer on the market. And so it's allowing my buyers to take their time with viewing homes and not having to jump to make an offer. And we can actually kind of like sit down and talk through their terms and really negotiate with the seller and actually have conversations other than, like if you don't have this, and give me your, firstborn baby in your right arm, then you're not getting this house.
So, obviously we're here in Fort Worth. What are some of the things, just kind of off real estate, what are some of the things you love about living in Fort Worth? And if people were thinking about moving here, why would you say to call it home?
To me, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, but whenever I moved to Fort Worth, it gave me that like small town, big city feel, which is completely opposing views. But I just feel like there's a lot of
coming from the big city of Arlington.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like it has like a city feel, but it also has like a everybody kind of knows everybody or has their own groups, or there's just so much that you can do in Fort Worth to appease anybody. Like you have the stockyards where if you like to feel a little bit more country, or if you like want the city, you have the downtown, and there's just so much to do in Fort Worth. And
so what are some of the areas, you would suggest? Because obviously like you live in an outskirt area. Where are your favorite spots if you were, let's just say, a first-time home buyer? Where would you start looking? Average home price in this area is around $350,000. So if I came to you, where would you start my search?
If you came to me and you were looking for around that price range, 300 to 350, I would personally shoot in the direction of Benbrook, because not only is that where I live, and I love Benbrook, but that is a perfect neighborhood for that price range. And that goes back to what I said earlier about the whole like small town feel, is because that community in Benbrook is very much like everybody looks out for everybody, and there's just a lot going on in Benbrook as a community feel, is what I'm trying to say.
It's growing like crazy.
And it is growing. And you have the lake, and it's direct access to Fort Worth. Like you're not very far. It's it's honestly on the border of Fort Worth. So sometimes Benbrook and Fort Worth can get a little bit confusing, or it can go either way depending on your address. But Benbrook for sure would be one, or the Wedgwood area of Fort Worth would be a good area as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you want to be in town a little bit closer.
Yeah.
So Micaela, as a team lead here, I know that a lot of our leads come in through the web and different sources, and we have a lot of people that are moving from out of state. So do you only, I know this, they don't. So do you only focus on just the Fort Worth area, or where are most of your clients who are coming in from out of state? What do they need to know, and where are they buying right now?
So it's funny that you say that, because a lot of my business this year has been out of state buyers. And it's honestly really fun to work with those people because they're coming from different states within the US and don't know a lot about the area. I'm able to show them those areas. And so, it's
always fun when you can truly be a resource.
Exactly. And it's funny because if you know anything about DFW, you know that, Dallas is a lot farther than Fort Worth. And so, or the distance in between are far. And so some people are like, oh, I want to look over in this far west neighborhood of Fort Worth. And then, oh, wait, let's look at this east side of Dallas. I'm like, that's like an hour and a half drive and you want to be within 10 minutes of your job. That's not going to work. And so, being able to educate them has been a big part. But, I have had buyers all over the U.S. come in, and they've been all over the Metroplex. Some have been North Fort Worth. I have one closing next week that is far south, passing Cleburne. And I just had one close last week out in Garland in the Dallas area. So it's all over the place. And I think really true is just if you're an out-of-state buyer coming to the area, is to really know why you're coming to the area and where are you wanting to be? Are you coming for work? Are you coming for family?
Yeah, all the time we hear, I need to be 20 minutes from DFW airport. Well, that doesn't tell me.
That is a huge,
that doesn't tell me anything.
Exactly. It's okay, so what's going to be most important for you is location. So we got to be able to hone down on location first. And then that'll kind of, put us in a place of okay, what about your price range? Because maybe you want to be in Fort Worth, but your price range is, this within 350. So then that's going to dictate which neighborhood I'm going to have to show you houses in, depending on price ranges and everything. So I think location and importance of that location is the number one question that I have to ask those buyers that are coming from out of state.
So I just kind of want to shift off this to kind of more about you. So obviously this year you were Rookie of the Year here. What do you feel like has allowed you to become so successful? And what are the traits that people listening, what do they need to look for in an agent when they are beginning to shop, whether it's a buyer's agent or a listing agent? What do you feel that has allowed you to be so successful? And what are the important traits that those people should have when you're choosing who to work with?
I think what's most important is going to be the relationship that you have with your agent. And I'm a big people person. I came from the background of customer service. And so I interact with people on a daily basis and I enjoy creating those relationships. So for me, interacting with clients and learning about them and what their wants and needs are is something that's really important to me. And to get down to on a relational level, besides I'm just your agent and being a professional and, what do you want and just all business.
Sure.
And so, I think
it's more than a transaction.
It's more than a transaction. Exactly. That's how I view my clients. And so, and I want to continue that relationship past a transaction as well. So, I think that for my first year, the biggest thing that has helped me has been, that relationship building and then also communicating with my clients. And I think that if you are a first time home buyer or, you're a veteran of buying homes, you've done it before, or you're selling your home or whatever it may be, to choose an agent who will communicate those things to you and who can educate you on the market, communicate with you through the steps of the process of buying a home or selling your home. And I think it's really key to work with someone that you enjoy being around. If you don't...
It all goes back to that old know, like, and trust.
Exactly.
Which obviously now added in with the huge market shift, knowledge as well. So you need I think you've embodied every bit of that. And I think that's one of the things that we try to do with every agent here is to make sure that it always is more than a transaction, that we're responsive and we're relational and we truly do have our client's best interests. That's the most important thing, especially, people are spending a lot of money on these houses now. So
right. It's the biggest transaction of,
most people's lives.
Exactly. And it does take a lot. It's not just, you finance it like you're paying rent every month. there's a lot of money that goes into it.
So we're almost out of time, but just finishing up, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you with real estate? Because obviously a lot of wild things happen. So
yeah, I was thinking about this whenever you asked me about it, and I haven't really had any crazy stories. I think one of the craziest things that I have happened to me, and it's probably not even that crazy, but is there was one time I had a video tour scheduled for a client who was out of state. It was like one of my very first clients back in the springtime. And I set a like sunset tour or showing, and it was confirmed through the Showing Time app. And I show up to the house and I'm like, I knock first and like open the door, and then I hear, no. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, no one's supposed to be here. And I was like, well, I have a confirmed showing. I don't know what you mean.
Were you at the wrong house?
No, the seller came out in a robe and was like, my agent wasn't supposed to let anybody come past a certain time and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, I had a confirmed showing. So that's something you could talk to your agent about. But
sorry, I'm out of here.
But yeah, and then, those normal ones of like the dogs being in the backyard and not knowing about it. And I've definitely almost walked into like the most aggressive looking dog I've ever seen, and definitely ran back into the house. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I know that you've had some crazy stories. What about you?
Oh, I found a baby before.
Yeah.
With no parents at the house, but that can get really, really deep on that one.
Maybe we'll save that for another episode. Yeah. We can go deep into that one.
Well, we're out of time for today. Thank you for listening. Micaela, thank you for jumping on here. If you have any questions about today's episode or want to learn more about us, visit us at residedfw.com. I'm Brady Bridges, and I'm here with Micaela Mead, and we're with Reside Real Estate. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.